with another name, that is a startup. And if you think about it in the etymology of business, it's coming from busy. Now, busy is just the state of just being engaged with something, just taking care of something. And a startup is just coming from start. That it means just to begin something. Something that you only start, like a point of beginning. It's not something that you take care for a long time. And I think that this kind of semantic tricks has been going on in the tech industry for a long time. In fact, some of them are very obvious. For example, users. Business and companies have customers. But no, in the tech industry, startups have users. Users mean something that use something, that's activating something. It's not something that has a relationship with you or even is a human. And you can see that many times the people that is in the other side of the browser, it's just treated like that, like livestock. Like, that's something that is just basically mechanic. That is not something that, like a human in the other side. And you can see at the same time that, growth, instead of just being like a consequence of you just doing the things well, is more like a goal. We have to be the next Facebook. We have to be the next whatever that is famous at that moment. And it's very funny because, all companies start just being small. But for some reason, in technology, we don't like that. You have to be, the big company, the big business. And we are always just running to the exit. Like, we are just going to be so good. We are just going to be so big. We are just going to have so many users, 1 billion users, 1 trillion users, whatever. We are just going to be so big that, Yahoo is going to call me and just give me like a few $1 million. Or, Facebook is going to be doing the same exactly with me. And that is you think about it, it's very strange. Because the last thing you want to do, if you are just having fun with something, is to exit, to go away. You want to be just doing that for a long time because you are just having a good time. And, even Satex, we were just talking before about traffic and, users and, what is Satex anymore in this industry? Someone says that, you have a 1 billion valuation. That means something to someone. It doesn't mean something to me. In fact, I know that this is not a popular, approach to technology, but I have seen this just happening again and again. Someone said, like, I have, building something. We are just going to get some investment, some money, something mythical, magical is going to happen, and then it's profit. Simple. And it's very strange. And I think that one of the parts that is just introducing many problems into the equation is that part of the investment. Like, the feeling that, there is some kind of need to get money to do something in technology. That is very contradictory, because if there is one industry where you need like a very few resources to do something, it's technology. And I would like just to quote Jason Calacanis here. There is one of the biggest well-known investors that said, investors don't care if it is 1 in a 500 shot of hitting 1 billion in revenue, because the return will be 10,000-fold when you do. Investing is about hitting a moonshot like Facebook, Google, Yammer, or Dropbox. So apparently, investing is not about creating wealth anymore. It's not about creating jobs. Not about just, making something that is sustainable on the long term. It's just about playing lottery. Another quote. Almost every investor I have met is driven by the ego. And if they are not, you don't want them as investors. If you don't have an ego about winning, then you are not going to fight like a tiger when the chips are down. You want crazy investors on your side when things get real. And I think the last part is very, very significant. Get real, if you don't get investment, if you don't get this kind of people on your side, you don't get real. That is basically like saying, if you are not as big as us, if you are not just not getting investment, you are basically in a delusional state. You are just living a pipe dream. You know, it's not real anymore. And it's funny because if there is fantasy in an industry, is this one. When the people are just talking about JavaScript ninjas, Ruby on Rails rock stars, HTML wizards, these are real job descriptions. This is not fictional, it's not role-playing games. You know, this is real. You know, someone is going to be hard on the fact that he is a ninja. I don't get it. I simply don't understand. So when I have been just interested of just creating something, it has been always in the old fashion, the old tradition of just creating business. And there is one quote that I love from a guy that just inspired me very much. There is this one. I think there are too few people trying to make just a nice Italian restaurant in the web space. I love that. It's a beautiful metaphor. An Italian restaurant. You go into an Italian restaurant, you love the people that is working there because it's usually nice. You just go there, you know, a few times and enjoy the food and have fun. You pay for it and, you know, everybody's happy. They get money. You just pay money and get good food. And, you know, it's a nice relationship. In fact, if you just go the old way, you have basically all the points that we have seen before in the other way. You are just not talking about users anymore. You are talking about customers. You are not just obsessed with the technology, because technology is not the point. The point is just to solve a problem. And you are just more related to that if you just think of the other person like a customer. The growth is a consequence. It's not that you are just going to look big, so any kind of investor is going just to pick you like you know, some kind of trophy. It's because you are doing the things well that as a consequence, you know, you are just going to have this growth. You are like in a marathon. It's not about the sprint. It's not about a starting thing anymore. It's about just being there for the long term, for creating wealth in a sustainable way. So I would like just to, with this approach, with this kind of philosophy that I have about how should we behave in the industry, I would like to share a few points that I have, you know, in my experience. Probably just very simple, but still, I think that maybe it's useful for some of you. First, the first thing that I learned creating companies is that it's not rocket science. It's simple. It's hard, but it's not complex. That is two different things. A thing can be hard and still not be complex. In fact, this is the basic formula that every single business over the surface of the earth is using, always. You have some revenue, you have some expenses, and if the revenue is bigger than the expenses, you have profit, and everybody's happy. If it is the other way, you have loss, and then it's, you know, not so happy. Facebook is using this. The bakery on the corner is using this. The shoemaker in the corner is using this. And it is Yahoo too using that. You know, every single company is just based on the same principle. And if you just discover these and apply a few numbers like these ones, you realize that it's not that complex to create a profitable company, even if it is hard, but it's not complex. This is Amy Hoy. She's super smart, and she has been just running a few workshops about just creating business, online business. And the name is that one, 30 multiplied by 500, because that is the basic equation that you can do if you want to calculate how much effort it's going to take to be profitable. If you have 500 customers, and they're paying $30 per month, on a year, you're just going to get $180,000. How many people here is getting more than $180,000 per month, per year? One there, other. You know, there's a big probability that you know that you are doing well, like even better that you are doing right now, just with something like this. And it's not that complex. It's 500 people. It's not 1 billion users, whatever that means for Facebook. It's not 5,000 million, whatever. It's just 500 people, customers. Another thing that I learned is that investment is not essential. It's sometimes good. Most of the time, it's not that good, but it's never essential. Not at least in technology. The first product that we made was called StageHQ. It's a ticketing platform. You will basically give the tool to the event organizers to basically sell tickets online. And it was launched like a few years ago in 2009. To this day, we have generated like almost $7 million in ticket sales. That is not, all that money is not for us, it's for the organizer, but we are just getting a fee on that. And the team behind the development of this thing was 2 developers, and it was bootstrap. All the money required to the development of this tool was coming from our project for all the customers. In order just to pay for the development, we just went to, other people, ask for projects, do the projects, and after that, with that money, reinvest that money in the company and create this product. And so, we are not super smart. I know that there's many people in technology that, you have to hire this super good ninja rock star, whatever periods, whatever. And that is, something that you have to do. I don't think that. I think that I will just pick any person that is normal and capable of learning in the long term. And that is good enough. That is good enough for 99% application. Another thing that I learned was that bootstrapping is possible. Not only in my experience, but in the experience of my customers. In order to provide resources for creating a StageHQ, we did this other project that was called Recami.com. It's a crowdfunding platform. It's actually the biggest one in Spain. But it's a family business. There's 3 people, that are family, running the thing. They have just rise to these days like almost 5 million euros, and they're doing very well. They don't have any kind of super, hardcore technical background. They're just nice people that believe in cultural crowdsourcing phenomena. And they just went with this idea, we created the platform, and they have been just working from that moment on this thing. And they are profitable. I discovered too that, even if you think that, that fail is okay, it's not. You are not supposed to fail. It's not, horrible if it happens, but it's not the goal. It's repeated until nausea all the time, like, just learn from your mistakes, just even fail early and often. Why? It's much better just to do the right thing. Don't fail. But I did just creating another product that is question.com. It was horrible because we spent almost a year just developing the thing. And just when we were like 99% done, we discovered that, we don't have the passion, we don't have the time, and we don't have the energy just to have this product just at the same time that we have a StageHQ. But the good thing was that we were just able just to sell the product and get some money back. But this is not supposed to happen. This is the bad way. That is not like a good thing that I did. Just the opposite. This was a huge mistake. I wasted 1 year of my very short life just building this for nothing. And another thing that I learned is that side business are great. Side business is basically things that you do that are not your main source of income. And this is my lovely wife, and she found Hositahosi.com. That is basically a small side business, just creating handcrafted cases for Apple devices, iPad, iPhone, this kind of stuff. She has been doing that for almost 3 years now, And even if it is still not the main activity that she is doing every day, she is getting a very stable income source coming from a lot of people, like 1,000 customers around the world in many countries. So what I want to say, and I'm just closing now, is that anyone can start a business, but it's not easy. You have to fight. It's hard work. It's pricing, super complex. Not anybody is going to tell you like the right formula for that. It's very complex to get the pricing right. And and many other things. I don't think that you have to work like 18 hours per day. That is not life. You have to work like a right amount of time. So in order just to grow as a person and have a normal life. Imagine to go to the bakery in the corner and just ask the baker like, can you give me some bread? And he will just tell you like, not really, I have been just working 18 hours per day and just raising some venture capital. I don't have time for you. Like, that is not the point. You are supposed to run a business and have a life at the same time. It's not one thing or the other, I think it should not be like that. So, in the end, do it because it matters. It's important. It's something that is going to be with you, and you are just going to use your life for that. And that is important because you only have one, at least now. So, when you are in your deathbed, don't think this. You don't have a second opportunity. Just do something that is really important and that is really good for you. And thank you. Question?
Exactly. Does anybody have a question?
Yeah.
There you go.
So in the case where you bought or you guys made the question app, I'm in the back.
Okay.
You guys sold that when it was pretty much done, and it sounds like you're still investing time in Stage HQ.
Yep.
Like, how many people work on that now? How passionate are you about that to this day? It's like an old project. And how has the growth of the company kind of changed things versus kind of the idealistic, we're going to be a small, Italian restaurant?
Well, it's quite small now. It's 2 people. Exactly the same thing that was just in the beginning. That is okay for me. Eventbrite is just 10 times bigger than me. I don't care. It's just growing well. Even if we are not taking care of the product for a long time, because we did a lot of stupid mistakes and stupid errors, even with that, it's still growing. And it's still growing in a very linear way. It's not explosive. It's not the kind of growth that the investors usually ask for. But it's good for me. And it's still, the same size, and it's an Italian restaurant in many ways, yeah. Don't know if that's enough for.
Okay, any more questions?
I like your manifesto a lot. It's intriguing. I'm wondering if people tend to see entrepreneurs as one amorphous group, and of course some of us are shopkeepers and some of us like the risk of the high reward based on sort of like investment put in by venture capital or whatever. So I'm just wondering if you're brushing over that fact a little. And secondly, I wasn't sure, was Calacanis backing your point, or was it contrary to your point? Because he's raised millions of euros in financing, had a successful exit, taken lots of risk, etc., etc.
Well, I will just put the quote again, because I think
he says a lot of stuff.
Yeah, well, many people do too much. I think this is totally stupid. This is playing lottery. That is okay for some people. There will someone that finally just create, Facebook, but that is not for the most, people. There is just a tiny fraction, a tiny percentage of the final people that is trying just to get business. And another thing that I don't like about statements like this one is that it's not looking for creation of the real wealth. It's not looking for creation of jobs. It's just looking for the money that investors are just going to get. They want to get more money, and they want to do that even if it is not very sustainable in the long term. Even if the company is not here in 20 years.
Yeah, no, I understand that, but the major wealth creators in Silicon Valley, such as Intel and Cisco, got huge amounts of venture capital and have hired tens of thousands of people across the world. So it's not like Facebook is creating value today in hundreds of millions of euros, actually billions of euros in sales. So, and also I think the 1 in 500 is wrong.
It's totally wrong.
It's 1 in 40 or something, if you look at most venture capitalists. And I think it's a big risk, but then again it comes down to entrepreneurs are not the same. So the Italian restaurant, those guys exist on the web. And
I'm totally okay with some people just choosing the other way. It's not for me. And what I would try just to say is that it's not the only way. It's not the way that you are supposed to go because you are just working in technology. It's not, for me, it's not even the most safest way. It can be very dangerous. And if you are like 22 years old, everything is good. You don't have anything that is really important or really complex in your life. You can just take a lot of different options, and still you have the feeling that you have a lot of time. Look at the ping pong tables in that companies. Look at all these fancy things that they buy with the investment. Like it looks to me like a kindergarten sometimes. It's probably not a popular opinion. It's probably not a very nice view on how the things are going in those companies, but it's just still my opinion. I think that they are just forced to act in a very specific way because they get in business, and they are supposed to behave like that.
A ping pong table costs $150. So
but
it's a symbol.
But it's iconic. It's it's a symbol. It's some kind of representation of what you expect to do and how to behave. So to me, I'm just that.
Okay. I'd actually. Are there any more questions? Yeah, okay. Richard has a question.
Thank you. I really like your presentation. I've been in business for 20 years and I've not done an exit yet. So I kind of... It's really nice to hear this type of perspective in this type of meeting. So thank you. But I sometimes wonder, there's this theory of winner takes all, that in these global markets, and ticketing is a good example, there isn't room for lots of strong players. And I completely agree with you. It's great to have the nice Italian restaurant, but there's probably no equivalent of the nice Italian restaurant in global fast food. But if it was like the nice hamburger bar, you might be crushed by McDonald's. And so, I mean, much as I like the presentation, isn't it quite a dangerous strategy to say you can afford not to aim to be number one in your industry? And take your ticketing example, there's Eventbrite and there's a couple of others. Might they not just get too much capital from someone else and come and crush you because they have access to more resources? And is this a really safe strategy? I like it emotionally, but is it safe for a business to think like this?
Well, don't know. It's not bulletproof. I totally understand that. For some people, they will just feel more safe because they have more money to spend on, whatever, development or marketing or whatever. But I think that reality is very broken in many ways. There's so many products, so many problems to solve that there's a lot of space for, many people. I don't believe that we are supposed to just accept that there are just going to be 5 companies in the world. That there's going to be these massive stacks that are just controlling everything, for just selling books to hosting servers. I think there's a lot of space for just small companies because they are more flexible, because they are just more profitable sometimes, and because it's possible. But that is not like is not giving to you the security that you are just going to be alive in 10 years. You have to work for that. And, there is no one that can say that. The good thing is that if you look at history, companies die after a few decades at most. If you look at all the companies that were created more than 500 years ago, there are probably like 200 companies in the world, and they are usually family businesses. So, don't know. I think there is a good option, and I think it's better than most people think.
Okay, any more questions? Okay, so, yeah, okay, go ahead. I have something to chip in as well.
Yeah, so I think I can relate to what Richard said, that I really like the talk,
yep.
and I relate to it emotionally, and I like having run an agency, like a software development agency, an events business, and I co-founded like a products company. Some of them worked, some of them didn't, and now helping to start a physical product company as well. I think it's possible to run a small business. And obviously the Italian the Italian restaurant online, but I think part of the advice should be you have to be picky what that business is, because not all business models are equally good for that. So I did a quick math on the numbers of Stage HQ.
Yep.
$6.8 million in 4 years. I would assume you have 2% or something commission on that, plus the payment for processing providers. And I know because we've been processing payments for our ticketing ourselves.
Yep.
It's less than $150,000, which in terms of 2 developers, 4 years, it doesn't seem to pay the bill. So I like the message as well. The numbers looked great, but it's not yet a sustainable business on its own.
Well,
I mean, maybe I'm wrong.
It's not sustainable. Don't know. We started just doing this thing in 2009. At the same time, there was another 4 companies in Spain doing the same thing. They are not here anymore. Is that sustainable? I'm still here. I'm maybe not making a big money on that. That is not that I don't want to grow. I want to grow, but because I'm just doing the good things, not because I get some money for free just to spend to do something. Don't know. For me, it's good enough to have the opportunity just to grow at the rhythm and with the pace that you want, and without any kind of conflict of interest with other things, like, for example, a board that is telling you what to do and what moment. And
that I can totally relate to. It's good to have whenever you have a bootstrap company and you're making your own decisions, and you don't even if you don't have a board, when you take money from someone, there's a psychological difference of like you having somebody else's money in your bank account.
And in some ways, you change the relationship. You are not just working with customers anymore. You are just working with the people that give you the money just to do something with your company, and that is very toxic for me. It's probably not super fast. I'm not telling this is the fastest way just to get rich. If you just want to get rich, you will probably just get to in some kind of business like drug dealing that is very profitable. But still, I think it's a very reasonable option.
No, so I actually like the Amy Hoey example,
Yep.
like what she's promoting, this software as a service, monthly subscription. It's a different model than processing payments, right?
Yeah,
but
yeah.
There are many sustainable Italian restaurant businesses, and the 500 times 30.
Yep.
I think it's an interesting.
Yeah, there's also different industries, and there are some ones that are just more capital intensive, and they just need more help with this kind of investment. And there are others that I think that are not, and you should just pick one that is not super capital intensive.
Yeah, so it's interesting because we're talking about businesses, and you gave the formula of what business is, right? But I think there are some people out there that care not that much for money, but they care for impact. And if they care for impact, then they are like Jason Calacanis is, and they want to make, they want to reach millions of people or billions of people like Mark, right? So for those people, actually, this hunger and this risk taking makes it possible for them to actually do that, and this is why they need VC. It's true that many of us focus only on that model. And I think many entrepreneurs have to think about whether they want a lifestyle business or whether they want to make a big impact. And I guess that's something that I'm getting from this talk. Right?
And the total view, there's you can just think that the point of Facebook is not to create money, it's just to connect all the people in the world. I don't believe it. I think it's if as a company you have to be profitable, and it is, But even if you have a purpose, that doesn't mean that that is the reason for just keep going, or even the reason for just grow in one way or the other. You have different options. Even you have
Okay, thank you.